last week's reporting on Marco Rubio's ambition to try to get to muster diplomatic pressure against Iran, knowing full well that Iran does want to have continued conversations with countries in Europe, right? And they think that if France and Germany and the UK are a part of the coalition forces, all of a sudden there's much more international pressure against Iran, and they think they can cause them to bend to their will. Ironically enough, Europe, in spite of their vassalized attitude, has shown some has demonstrated some restraint in abiding by American principles. And even if they were to lean into pressure against Iran, it doesn't really amount to much as long as Iran continues to control the Strait of Hormuz.
Ago, he has now decided to, quote, postpone any and all military strikes on Iranian power plants.
I mean, this is a massive withdrawal, I think.
This, of course, comes after the president had issued
and I don't even know if it's real, but it's just even the admission is just openly demonstrating that they recognize that things are going really bad.
By tonight. Or he warned that they would be risking strikes on their power plants. CNN's Kevin Liptak is at the White House this morning. So the president's message this morning is the window is now a little bit wider in terms of that deadline. What else in terms of these talks, Kevin?
Yeah, and that I think is what is most extraordinary about this post that we've gotten from the president. Until now, we did not understand that the U.S. and Iran were speaking at all over the course of this now 3-week-long conflict. Now the president says that these conversations are underway. And so you can start to see and start to envision how potentially there is a diplomatic route to de-escalation that we did not know of until, 10 minutes ago before the president was posting this. And I'll read you a little bit of what he said. He said he's pleased to report that the United States, the country of Iran, have had over the last 2 days very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East. The president goes on to say,
you know what I think? I think Trump is just trying to delay the market pain to the best of his ability until he just goes and commits the troops. On the one hand, I think in his sober moments, he realizes that the situation is looking bad. So he's trying to feed as much positive information that the markets want to hear. On the other hand, he keeps mounting more and more troops. He keeps sending more Marine expeditionary units and shit like that. Just wait until Friday. No, there's a couple more weeks. No. I'm saying he might strike Iran. He probably will strike Iran again on Friday after market close, right? He is so clearly operating. He is the most markets focused president of all time. He's very clearly operating with that in mind. But what I'm saying is overall in the negotiations process, especially because Iran is not even remotely interested in coming to the table with a cessation of hostilities when they hold all the cards, is going to keep punishing America and saying we're not interested in deal making at this point. And I think eventually Trump is just trying to create military presence, enough military presence that they can just do boots on the ground, maybe a limited operation. I don't think it's going to be Carg Island.
I don't think
because they've been signaling Carg Island too much.
And Trump is apparently part of why they talk about it is because Trump has had some decades long fixation on it. But I think that the ground troop stuff is that's brave. That's where a new territory thing. Even if it's a limited contingent, just the psychological effect of that, the way that the American media is going to have to digest that, the social media tenor. I mean, what do you think Nick Fuentes is going to say?
Yeah,
he'll have to probably light himself on fire on stream. I mean, God willing. But I think that there's no. To me, there's just not
The conversation.
There's not really another option aside from Trump trying to just hit them again on the weekend or maybe even during the week or whatever, and just to see what he can shake loose before they come to some kind of deal in which he's not going to. I just don't know how he can save face at this point. That's where I'm getting tripped up.
Yeah, the two competing interests here are like Trump's unlimited narcissism and his reluctance to do an about face, or to de-escalate, but then also the very obvious impact that this is having on the markets, which he cares about quite a bit. Like, he's getting boss calls.
Oh, this is funny. This is really funny.
Man, I feel bad for the Iranians who trusted the U.S. not to fuck this up spectacularly. It was pretty common Iranian diaspora opinion a few weeks ago that this would turn out well, unless that was all a psyop. Yeah. No. Unless that was all a psyop. It's crazy.
That's crazy. It couldn't be.
Yeah. No. No, this time it was different. This time it was so different. Like it was so different this time. Every other time where we're like,
also, you know who I've
here
always,
are the necessary reasons for American military intervention, and then we go, oopsie. Turns out it was actually an incredibly bloody affair, and they had no interest in like liberating the people.
You know who I have always trusted when it comes to knowing what's going on inside of Iran? The Iranian diaspora.
Yeah,
it's my first thought. Always. The same thing with the Cubans, too.
It's just like ContraPoints has just become Hillary Clinton points. Like, that's it. It's just Clinton points. I know it's Hasbara points, we've said, but like all of her takes are just like, well, the Democrats would have done this better, right? It's fucking ridiculous. Endless smoke from David. The contempt I feel for the exiles who trusted Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu to carry out their liberation war is immeasurable. Iranians will suffer horribly, and so will the whole world, which a literal idiot could have predicted. Oh my God!
Oh yeah! Oh,
my goat!
Yeah.
My queen!
Yeah, fucking yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot. I've been calling her Miss Frizzle, but I'm like, where did she come from? She's just an Iranian exile who lives in New York.
She's an Iranian journalist who, was a big dissident. And I guess she did like competent reporting at the time. But then when she moved to America and started getting like hundreds of thousands of dollars from the CIA, she became the most unhinged person that you've ever encountered.
I mean, I know nothing about her background. All I've done is I've seen her on like CNN or whatever. And I've seen her astute, engaging and informed commentary about yourself. But no, I didn't understand why she was on the TV. Was my main question.
What do you mean? Anyone that will say President Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, you are the greatest. When you say that, Jake Tapper will be like, please come on the broadcast and yell at the mayor of New York. You know, Tapper is he's salivating at the prospect of an Ellison takeover. He is just like gearing himself.
Might even say,
what?
Jake Fapper.
Yeah, he's fapping. He's fapping so hard to that. Yeah, I know. Mehdi Hasan and Trita Parsi, who have never lived in Iran, who have no family there, who have never faced imprisonment and assassination plots by the regime, now obsessively targeting and bullying me, using their platforms to spread misinformation.
Sorry, I love that. For security and safety reasons, I can't substantiate my claims.
Yeah. But one day I will reveal in how full the misinformation they keep repeating has been used these days by the Islamic
when did she post
Republic.
This? Has it been a day? No, it was this morning.
What the fuck? This is this morning.
Whoa, what? It's
Mullah Mehdi Hasan. You have always behaved like an intolerant mullah. That's so funny to say about Mehdi Hasan.
That is pretty.
He's so
it's
fucking.
Like,
he's so
it's a funny
fucking
guy to say that about.
Yeah, he's so. I mean, I love him. I think Zateo is a wonderful outlet, but like he is the biggest lib of all time. Like he is. I think he literally is the last true defender of liberalism. He's the only guy on the planet that even he's actually changed his tune a little bit as of late, but like. He was quite literally the last guy, the last soldier, the last samurai of liberalism. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're welcoming the bombs getting dropped on your country, then like the last person, then like the only person left you have to criticize is Mehdi Hasan. You know what I mean? Like the fuck else are you gonna do? You've already thrown in your lot with the people who are like, like churning your country into Swiss cheese. Fuck them.
Anyway, Mehdi is a liberal. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's anti-Zionist, of course, but yeah, he. Have you ever listened to him talk to like? I looked at the transcript of his interview with the foreign vice minister of Cuba, which I also because I was about to interview him as well, and like half the conversation is literally like, how dare you say that like the countries like protests are being propped up by the CIA. Like how could you say that? Like it's all like there's a little bit of a victim blaming, and he's an incredible debate lord, and I really respect I really respect how he debates. But the reality is he does do a reliable job of like undermining victims of American empire sometimes. He has changed a little bit though. I will say he has changed a little bit as of late. Have you debated him? I mean, we've had and the same with China as well, but like we've had what do you call it? We've had conversations. I'm not going to elaborate, but like we've had conversations where we find ourselves in agreement more often than disagreeing.
After Sam Cedar, he has the only watchable Jubilee thing, I think. Trump.
What is this? Reza wrote the same statement, and then Yashar. Politico quotes two Trump administration officials on background who say that Reza Pahlavi is not considered a viable option as a leader in Iran. Dude, there is one thing about Trump that is consistent. He can't stand losers. Like it's the same.
I mean, it's just like with Maria Machado. Yeah.
He does not even give any breathing room to that shit. Where he'll just be like, nope, not gonna happen. You're a fucking loser.
Loser. Machado don't. Bye. Yeah, no, I think he also, though, understands that, like, part of the way that you have to resolve these situations, because this is like, remember how in Cuba they figured out, oh, wait, fuck, there's nobody we can turn to.
Yeah.
So we're just going to have to, no matter what happens, we're going to have to use some of the same people. Yeah. And so I think they've learned a lesson about diaspora.
Venezuela?
No, in Cuba, because that's what they're talking about now. Like in their leaks, they're saying that like, oh, well, we're, like you have Rubio saying that they would even leave people in place or whatever to accomplish whatever it is the fuck that they want to do.
For the record, for better or for worse, the Cuban government is very ideologically committed. I think more so than Venezuela is, more so than Delcy Rodriguez.
Well, they've also been under this position, like Venezuela, the Bolivarian Revolution. It's been like 20 years of the Bolivarian Revolution, or 25 years of the Bolivarian Revolution.
There's a difference.
What?
The Venezuelan system was implemented through democracy. It is inherently a revisionist system in and of itself. It's the most like. Just like with Chile, it is a socialist system that transitioned towards socialism by way of the democratic process. Cuba had a revolution.
It's true.
And I think that is a genuine, very, very significant difference. If you achieve your communist system or your socialist system militarily, even if the Cuban Revolution wasn't initially socialist, it became a socialist revolution, right? And the reality of the matter is those systems are infinitely more resilient to outside pressures than seemingly the communist propaganda. That's crazy, brother. Whose broadcast are you watching? It's been years. Hello. Like, what the fuck? This is so funny when people go, wait a minute, what?
Hold on a second.
Wait a minute, what are you saying right now? Like, that's so funny. Brother, you're surrounded. I don't know if you know this. You are surrounded. Look around. Now, I'm still sympathetic to any attempt. Make no mistake. But it's, impossible not to realize that the revolutionary struggle brings about a much more resilient system, even when it's not socialist in design. The Islamic Revolution is a great example of this.
I mean, I would also say that, like, because it's like part of what explains the resiliency, at least, resilience, is that the U.S. has proven, in the case of Cuba, in the case of Chile, in the case of Venezuela, that no matter what the structure of your system is, they will try to work against it. And it turns out that societies that have a free and open press, that societies that have existing permitted multinational investment and present from the United States, for example, it was shown that those were opportunities that were really.
Do you see this? We have an Enver Hoxha hater. Get out of my sight, dude. Dude, in Albania, people have been executed in an open field. You don't even know what you're talking about. This is an Enver Hoxha hater, dude. Between me and China, we have 1 billion communists in the world. How dare you? How dare you?
I just also like the standard of I know that
wait, hold on. I got to Albania mentioned. Albania mentioned, just even reluctantly, but still.
I just like the level of atrocity that he chose to, Pinochet had a fucking stadium massacre. In Albania they have 1 field. They got 1 field. Anyway,
he keep going. Sorry.
No, I mean it's the U.S. will use whatever method they can, and democratic societies, they give them the things that we respect and enjoy about such societies are exactly the very weaknesses that can be exploited. And look, by the way, we should say that, like, in the U.S., I would argue that our system is also exploited. We see, I don't know if you guys have heard much about this Israel lobby, but like there are ways in which like the structure of our media, and obviously they're like.
But what do you mean, Noah?
I
was in a coma for the last 2.5 years, or the last 80 years, as a matter of fact. But certainly, especially the comatose in the last 2.5.
So I think that's an example of it, and it's not just them. There are others, but they're the most successful and accomplished in being able to exploit the many tools present in our system that they can use.
Read the last message before they get suspended from the site.
Communism is literally Jewish. Oh, I love how he spelled bureaucracy.
Jewish bureaucracy, steal from others and make it a standard. Also, I hope no nukes will ever be dropped. If only there was an Albanian guy that had a solution for that. If only there was an Albanian guy that had a solution for that. Yeah, there was. His name was Enver Hoxha! And you're over here disrespecting his legacy.
Communism is literally
also,
Jewish.
Enver Hoxha was also Jewish.
Yeah. Communism is literally Jewish bureaucracy. All right, Dasha Nekrasova.
What do you mean? She's based now, aren't they? Aren't they?
Dude,
based
no.
now?
Did you not see?
Oh wait, she was anti-Semitic to you right after.
Yeah, she's yeah.
And what did she say?
Jewish aggression.
Yeah, you're doing Jewish aggression. That's so funny.
That based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week, I've instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. So you do see the president opening the window of this ultimatum that he had set on Iran, that he would strike power plants in that country if it did not reopen that very critical Strait of Hormuz, where all those energy tankers are waiting to go through. It's causing the price of oil to spike. Iran had threatened very severe retaliation, not only on energy strikes, but also on facilities in the Gulf. Now, some big questions remain, namely who the U.S. is talking to, because remember, the president had said that the Iranian leaders that he thought he could work with had been killed. Now he says that those conversations are ongoing and, according to him, very fruitful. So very significant development, I think, this morning, and does lead you to believe that the president has, or is at least searching for something of an off-ramp here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will see what more we learn about that potential off-ramp. Kevin, really appreciate it. Thank you. Sarah?
All right, joining us now, CNN senior military analyst and the former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO, Admiral James Stavridis. Thank you so much for being here. This just came in to us this morning. The president saying, look, we're having talks and they're going well. Is that a surprise to you? Because a lot of people don't realize that oftentimes, even in the midst of war, there are always sort of talks going on, but there is the issue of who is leading Iran. Apparently, they know who that is, and they've been talking to them.
Apparently.
Well, first and foremost, let's all just say, wow.
Who's Trump talking to? Iran says they're not talking to the U.S. Is he talking to himself? No one is alive. Yeah, he just keeps... Yeah, I
do think that like the real secret to Trump, like I can't believe none of his advisors have like figured out, like, why don't they just give him like a phone and be like, listen, we've set it up so that like you can talk to Iran and talk to Iran. Yeah. And then it's just like you know,
I'm on the other side. Chat bot. I'm on the other side. President Trump, we are willing as long as you de-escalate. Ghalibaf is by no means a moderate within Iran's political world, let alone pro-U.S., but America is attempting to place a powerful individual within a still powerful system in the same bind that Delcy Rodriguez was in. Accede to all of America's plans or be marked for death. Scoop. The Trump administration is quietly weighing Iran's parliament speaker as a potential partner and even future leader as it looks for a diplomatic endgame. An administration official tells me he's a hot option, but says they're still testing multiple candidates.
I wonder what it's like to be the reporter who writes this story and to wonder if you're writing out somebody's death notice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying that that's their intention,
yeah, but also every time they say an individual is like... every time they say an individual is like potentially being marked as like the party that they'll negotiate with, they keep coming out and going, abso-fucking-lutely not. Iran is fighting for humanity. The world is either with Gaza and against this colonial terror regime, or it stands with the Epstein class and child torturers. There's no middle ground. I mean, they did this with Larjani as well, who was obviously the more pragmatic individual amongst all of the people that were in control, and Larjani was until the very last moment posting about how, like, you know, I welcome death, and there's nothing you can do. We're gonna fucking stick it to the Zionist regime over and over again.
I just don't know what the fuck any of this is supposed to be about, or what they're supposed to like. It's just like, so we name a guy, but everybody knows that if we name a guy, then everybody's gonna think we're gonna kill him. So then it's like, all right, then why did you name the guy if you aren't gonna kill him? It's all so...
Also, every time they kill a guy, there's like 8 other guys that are way more hardcore that replace them.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the other truth
like
of this.
You just keep electing or appointing people into that position that are literally like famous for saying Iran needs to get nuclear arms tomorrow.
Yeah, it's like, the U.S. blew up in a drone strike. This guy who got a doctorate from the University of Kent and and loves talking about poetry in public or whatever, and they've replaced him with a guy who in Iran they call Dr. Death. Like, that's the fucking, like, that's the, obviously I'm exaggerating quite a bit, but it's like, that's the tenor of the headlines in English that we're presented with every time this shit happens.
Yeah. Alongside military bases, those financial entities that finance the U.S. military budget are legitimate targets. U.S. Treasury bonds are soaked in Iranians' blood. Purchase them, and you purchase a strike on your headquarters and assets. We monitor your portfolios. This is your final notice.
We monitor your portfolios. This is your final notice.
Yeah,
that's actually, I gotta say, man, it is like crazy how like we've just been looking at a bunch of different tweets or whatever, and the only like things that are like bars that have like stuck in my head are like, oh, it's the Iranians quoting, I guess Iraqi militias quoting the Quran, Iran issuing, like some pretty good subtle threat. Like
beast mode. I'm afraid.
Beast mode.
Right.
I'm
Are
afraid.
we allowed to have some good news for at least 1 minute?
You are awful.
It's going to be a roller coaster, but I think this is good.
Sorry, you know what? I should have actually said it's good that we keep slaughtering children in Iran at the behest of Israel. It's totally good, and it's totally going to work out. Yeah, and America's not eating dick on a daily fucking basis as it escalates to further and further spectacular defeats. Is manufacturing consensus so we can say that they rejected the deal to legitimize a big attack to try to gain support? I just don't see that that's going to work. Yeah, Iran is putting fucking belt to ass on a daily basis. And there are still people, I guess, who don't want to see that there is a shellacking taking place. It's fine, If you could change one thing and one thing only to make the world a better place, what would it be? End American imperialism. Like, that's it. Or, I mean, end capitalism, obviously. End the global system of capitalism. LARPer. What am I LARPing? What is the LARP? Would you end capitalism or religion? Capitalism. It's not even a question.
Did you ever have to go to services as a kid though?
No.
It's really
And
boring.
Sarah,
Dude.
you're exactly right.
Just saying.
There's almost always kind of at least back channel conversations. I've been hearing about them from several sources. And here's what you want to watch as this roller coaster
You're a
unfolds.
fake socialist,
I'll give you,
capitalist scum.
3 things to watch. Number one.
Yeah, I'm the LARPer. Guy who is LARPing as a fucking ultra in my chat.
Try hard.
Yeah.
That right?
Yeah, try hard to engage in capital accumulation, bitch, instead of fucking posting in here.
Where are literally Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff? Because they are the ones who are going to be the U.S. side of this. Keep an eye on
Admiral
their
James
normal
Stavridis.
counterparty, the Iranian foreign minister,
Carlyle Group,
still
if I'm
alive
not
by all
mistaken.
accounts. Abbas Aroghi is his name. So watch those three. Where are they? Are they popping up, for example, in a place like Geneva? Number two, watch the Marines. The Marines are still kind of chugging along toward the Gulf. The first big Marine force gets there in 7 days. Another one right behind it 2 to 3 weeks later. And then number three, all eyes are going to continue to be on the Strait of Hormuz. Again, this is good news, but we just heard from our gas guy, and he laid out pretty clearly the strait's going to have to open before this is going to really turn into good news. But bottom line, Sarah, yeah, it's always better to be talk than bombs away.
Joining us now, CNN political and global affairs analyst Barak Ravid. This just came in this morning, and so I know it's a fast thing to have to try to figure out what happened here, but what do you know about
Barak 8200 Ravid.
this? This was a bit of a surprise, at least to many who thought that deadline was fast approaching.
Yes, I think it was a big surprise. At least last night I spoke to several U.S. officials that none of them thought, none of them thought that the ceasefire is coming or that there's any...
in a capitalist country, profiting off of capitalism, pretending to be a communist? Okay. You're not, though. So why are you defending capitalism? You're broke. You're broke as fuck. You got no capital. Why are you defending capitalism? Let's say I'm making out like a bandit, okay? And I'm still saying that there's a better future possible. What the fuck are you doing? Show me the deed to the factory, bitch. Where is the deed to the factory? You got no capital. You got no bitches. You're in a fucking Twitch chat defending this system that is dominating your life. Yeah, broke ass, not even a gifted sub. You don't got no subs, broke boy. Anyway, let's continue.
Opening. And I think that from what I learned in the last few minutes is that over the weekend, several countries from the region tried very hard.
Close presses. Thank you for the 100 gifted subs.
More time. And
I would like to have a discussion about how you contradict yourself on a daily basis. Let me guess. You're going to repeat exactly what that other chatter said, which is that I'm rich. I'm rich, and yet I advocate for the poor to have more. You know, for ordinary people to live long lives of dignity. Is that... Well, we can start with that. Wow, I've never heard that one before, dude. I know. Everyone here knows, too. This is not a call out. You're glazing me. You love capitalism. You're just fucking glazing my ass. When will you understand this does not have impact anymore? You can keep promoting it over and over again. It hasn't stopped me. I'm not trying to glaze you. Why would you hate on someone who's broke? I don't hate on broke boys. I hate on broke boys who defend capitalism, a system that they say I benefit from as I'm engaging in critique. Okay, you're too stupid to understand what I'm saying, I think, and it's okay. This is the exact same energy as people being like, I can't believe you said Nick Fuentes. I can't believe you made fun of Nick Fuentes for being gay and Mexican. No, man. I made fun of Nick Fuentes for being an existing contradiction because one can be a class traitor, but one can't be a gay Mexican neo-Nazi. Okay? It doesn't make sense. That was a stream lag. Okay, do you donate if you want to go against capitalism? The answer is yes, but I don't think that's going to change your equation.
Sort of prolonged Trump's 48-hour ultimatum to the Iranians to try and get some sort of diplomacy going. And those countries spoke to both Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi and White House envoy Steve Witkoff to try and get more time. And I think that at least this initial effort, as we saw, was successful because it managed to get Trump to say, okay, I'm giving it another 5 days for diplomacy to see if we can get something going. By the way, those talks, as far as I understand, are not just about the Strait of Hormuz. They're about trying to launch a diplomatic process that ends the war. Obviously, the Strait of Hormuz is a very big part of it, but it is not just something that is focused on the Strait of Hormuz. It's much wider.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. If indeed they're talking about how to end this war and that those conversations are actually going on. You mentioned the foreign minister involved in this. So there is someone, because at some point President Trump said that he didn't know who to talk to because so many of the leadership had been killed. It sounds to me like what you're learning is that the foreign minister is very much involved in this and maybe heading this up. So does it appear there is a diplomatic path out of this?
Well, it's a big question mark. You know, it just happened 30 minutes ago. And, you know, I think, President Trump decided to give it more time. I think was a good decision. But it still doesn't mean that an agreement is around the corner. And it also doesn't mean that the talks that are ongoing with Iran's foreign minister, who is, I think, his main quality at the moment is that he's the only one who answers the phone over there, because many other people are in hiding and are not communicating over the phone. So it doesn't mean that the leadership that is running the show right now, mainly the commanders of the IRGC, that they are ready for any kind of deal. The Iranian foreign minister, although he's a government official, senior government official, he does not call the shots. Or at least he's only one part of a much bigger decision-making process. So I think,
Sorry, I'm just fucking cracking up and look. I did not notice this before. Look at the photo, the thing on the wall.
It's Herzl.
Yeah, it's Herzl.
Of course. It's Herzl.
Listen, even when you are become very famous journalist in America, part of the hasbara, is that you always be showing the important figures in the state.
Yeah, Trump proved he doesn't work for Israel.
Wow. Yeah,
Wait,
the last month has definitely done that.
Yeah, no,
for
definitely.
sure.
Bro, you got like literal fucking defenders of Israel for their entire careers, like liberals, Zionists, openly coming out and being like, maybe we're a little bit too occupied by the state of Israel, like Democrats. Like that's insane.
Like,
and you're over here being like, Trump proved he doesn't work for Israel.
Like you have like the pod, like these days, like the pod save guys sound like fucking Walton Mearsheimer. I don't know what to tell you,
Yes.
man. It's mad fun. Like I welcome it.
Yeah. God damn, that's a long ass fucking Jesus
Yeah. Oh,
Christ.
wow. I'm now seeing this too.
And
Hold
second,
on.
keep our
I'll look it over.
expectations low when it comes to the ability to get a deal. There's more time on the clock, which is super important because a U.S. strike on Iranian power plants would have triggered a massive Iranian retaliation against power plants all over the region, against desalination factories, against critical infrastructure, which would dramatically escalate this war. So the fact that President Trump gave it another 5 days is a hugely important step and hugely important decision, because it means that he understands that, what kind of escalation such a strike would trigger, and that he's willing to try and find a diplomatic offer.
This just into us right now, Iran is now denying that they are in talks with Washington. This is just an hour after President Trump claimed the U.S. has had productive conversations with Tehran. According to Iranian state-affiliated media outlets, Iran accused Trump of trying to lower energy prices and buy time for military plans. Earlier this morning, Trump said he was putting military strikes on Iran's power plants on hold for at least 5 days, pending the outcome of these talks. That is what he put on Truth Social. Joining us now, Democratic Congressman Jake Auchincloss of Massachusetts. Thank you so much. Okay, so we just got this in that Iran is denying that they're having talks with the president's people. What do you make of all this? Because the president has backtracked on a deadline to what he called obliterate power plants in Iran if they didn't open the Strait of Hormuz.
Sarah, good morning. Thanks for having me on. The president has backtracked on almost all of the original strategic rationale that he dripped out to the American public after the war started. I'm sure there are
Dude, CNN coverage on this has been incredible because on the one hand, it's like they literally have a Unit 8200 agent of the Israeli state, and then they immediately go to Jake Auchincloss, who is like one of the most pro-Israel Democrats out there. It's incredible. Jake Auchincloss. It's not a single moment is spared here. No alternative perspectives will be heard.
I mean, it's just funny because, like, at this point, they are. It's like, you know what this reminds me of? Actually, remember the Never Trump wave in 2016 and 2017?
Oh my God, yes.
Like, essentially, so like for those of you who were like, in diapers at that time, there was this, like, in 2015 and 2016 when Trump emerged as a candidate, the American media went crazy overtime to find the Republicans who stood against Trump.
Yeah.
And you're talking about like people who then, as now, represented like 8%.
There is no real constituency for a liberal Zionist Democratic Party operative who's like saying, oh, the problem is how we're going about this. It doesn't exist. There's no real constituency. This person's position does not represent a real Democrat, okay? There are 1 million polls that show this reality. This is 13% of the base of the party. 13%. You might as well put fucking Ben Shapiro up there as like a lifelong Democrat or something. It's ridiculous. Did you see Bernie say Israel committed genocide? Yeah, Bernie has. My headcanon is Bernie saw that Netanyahu got assassinated and believed it, so he's like, I can't keep saying Netanyahu's genocide. Now I have to say Israel. It brings me great shame.
It brings me great shame. No,
Yeah.
I do think that I mean, his statements have been getting like slowly but progressively harsher over time.
I mean, it's just, I don't care. He's fucking 850 years old. I just don't give a shit. I think like yes, it's totally valid to criticize him. It's totally valid to criticize him. But I think people that just like only laser focus on him are also like kind of ridiculous.
And like something that I've been thinking. So Brandon and I are doing our Israel-U.S. relationship mini-series. It comes out in a couple months. And like one of the things I've been spending a lot of time doing is just like reading from like the 40s and 50s and 60s. And the degree to which like entire generations of Americans who identified with the political left prior to the 6-Day War like were raised in an environment of like real ironclad identification with Israel. Like it's hard to shake, and it's some of what you hear. It's like what I hear out of Bernie's mouth most of the times he talks on it. Like you just hear that identity. Like you hear like 80 years, like an 80, like an idea of what Israel was that was formed 80 years ago.
Bernie has the Stalinist position in 1948.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's like, yes, Israel is a socialist.
Or
it's going to be the Soviet.
You know who
base.
else's position from 1948?
Who?
Fidel Castro.
No.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Somebody, I don't think it was Grandin, but somebody had pulled this out recently on Twitter.
Oh my God.
And I thought it was really impressive because it was, but he contextualized it. Like it's about like how Castro was at that point a disciple of Eddie Chivas, and like he gave a speech that was like, like somewhat pro-Israel or something.
The only L
yeah,
he's
it was
ever
Grandin.
taken.
It was Grandin. Okay.
The only
yeah.
L.
It's a good thread,
bro. This is like these guys, unironic. I mean, he's not alone in this. Like, I think a lot of people legitimately thought that like, because Ben Gurion is like a socialist and all these guys.
It's a few different things. The biggest one though, and this is like the hardest one to wrap heads around because it like changes. It changed like essentially it's because like why did a bunch of Jews from Europe go to the Middle East?
Yeah,
it's because after the Holocaust, the governments or the countries from which they came didn't want them back, and Western governments, the UK, the United States, Canada, they didn't want to take them in. We weren't taking them in before the Holocaust, and there was not a whole lot of political appetite for taking them in after. And so there was like a sense of like, among many other reasons, like there was a sense of, oh, well, this is the historically just thing that we can do. And so I think that there is like, I without knowing like all of the particularities of how everywhere else around the world reacted to the Holocaust, an event that was then being discovered day by day, frankly, at that point, I think it is like, the questions that were live in the world, like what I'm describing is all of the reasons that the Palestinians' rights to self-determination and to their own land were neglected. That's all I'm essentially describing there was what was the motive for people to have thought it was a good idea in the first place.
And I think, well, the position of the USSR is very obvious. Like they did, I think, to a certain degree, the factors that you just mentioned were obviously present. They also thought that they could like establish a base of Soviet influence because these guys were sympathetic. At least they thought they were sympathetic against Western intervention in the region, right? Because they were like, oh, these guys are socialists. We armed them. They maybe their calculation also considered that like either pan-Arabic nationalism was not going to pan out, or potentially that they thought that like they had a lot of the pan-Arabic movements initially did align with Western forces, right, against the Ottoman Empire. So from their estimation, they would have been like they would have been more receptive to Western influence as opposed to Israel potentially. But they very quickly found out that wasn't the case anyway. And slowly but surely they changed their tune and became anti-Zionist. But Same with MLK. MLK was also.
I mean, but it's generally speaking, until the 6 Day War, Israel was considered a liberal and left wing cause. It just was. That was the reality. The Democratic Party and liberals within the Democratic Party, Jewish liberals in the Democratic Party, were correctly seen as like the most like strident and aggressive advocates for Israel. And the Republican Party and the Republican Party, Eisenhower, Dulles, they were not considered as good friends of Israel as, say, Adlai Stevenson would have been. So I think that it's I mean, that's just how it was at the time. That's how they saw it.
I do think that, I mean, there was obviously like clear-eyed anti-Zionist Jews in the Labor Bund, the Jewish Bund movement. But it is so interesting that like a guy who directly experienced like, the rise of Nazis, Einstein, was like very clear-eyed in his assessment of what the Zionist brigades were doing and what it would eventually turn into. And yet so many other people who were not directly involved in any way, shape, or form from afar were like, no, this is good. This will be a good thing.
I mean, there was essentially like, because also like the JQ, the Jewish question, and the idea of like where should Jews go or whatever, and Zionists, accepting the anti-Semites premise and running with the idea of like, well, there's this place in the Bible, etc. There were a lot of people who understood that, all right, well, even if we accept that premise, even if we think that there is a place where Jews should be in the Middle East, the idea that it should be a Jewish nation state, where Jews have a specific state character and a political, like a political entity in which they are able to have privileges, with the implication perhaps being that there would be one for the Arabs. History unfolded differently, but there were a number of, there were people like Einstein, or even the first leader of Hebrew University in Israel, a guy named Judah Magnus. I think that there is like there were a lot of people, even people who would have considered themselves participants in the Zionist project, who made all of those same points, and who more, unfortunately, co-signed what became a project that they would have, had they seen it evolve to what it became even within 20 years, would have started using the language, would have started making comparisons with the Nazis pretty happily.
Yeah, insofar as the critique of Zionism was locked into a critique of his disalignment with capitalist imperialism, many early waves of communist politics kept an undeveloped theory of settler colonialism left to be clarified. I don't agree with this assessment at all. I think this assessment is like utter. The Leninist perspective for a white guy at that time was, I think, pretty open about anti-colonial and settler colonialism in general. Am I wrong?
I just think it's more that he's saying like it's the idea that it says kept undeveloped. I like the tweak that I would make is that
even Stalin.
But it was more that it was just underdeveloped. Like for the moment, it didn't adapt to the times. I mean, Stalin ended up co-signing the project. He's voted for partition. I think that it's more that like people did not understand what Israel was, what its leaders wanted to do. Because also remember, the Nakba was a secret plan. We still do not know the details. We still do not know the details of how it was organized. We still we know some. We know that there were meetings. Ben Gurion was a part of them. They actively listed the villages that they wanted to depopulate. That they want, like there was like there was from the moment that it began taking place. Israel also began telling a line saying, listen, they're running. We didn't kick them out. They ran. So I think that
is true. There was, I always forget that like we are operating in the aftermath of like the discoveries of the new historians, and also like a tremendous amount of work that like Palestinians have put into raising awareness of like what the Nakba looked like. I do forget sometimes. It's almost like, it's a little bit like, as you said, the Holocaust and the full scale of the atrocities were only being understood at the time because like people didn't have a full understanding of exactly what had taken place.
I mean, consider what the media environment was in that time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a bunch of different ways to look at it, and all of which is not to, like, I want to be clear. None of this is to say that people made the right decisions, that excuses should be made for them for not seeing the truth. It's one of the great tragedies of history that we now have to live with. But it is like, if we want to actually understand like why it happened, why were our faves problematic in this moment, etc. I mean, these are the conversations you have to have.
What is this? Oh no, here we go again. Another worldwide Jewish conspiracy theory. I'm sure the kids in the cool kids club agree with you. What?
Bernie stole newspapers. Sorry, I love this arc. This is like, to
the
me.
The Nazis want to send the Jewish people to Madagascar. The ahistorical understanding here is frightening.
I don't know what he's referencing there, because I don't know if he noticed this, but the Nazis, in addition to wanting to send the Jews to Madagascar, they also killed 6 million of them.
Yeah.
Maybe news to him. I don't know.
I don't understand what, like, maybe he's saying, maybe he's operating with the Grand Mufti theory. The Benjamin Netanyahu's the famous
listen,
Holocaust revisionist
Adolf
perspective.
Hitler was not history's biggest anti-Semite.
The Palestinian Grand Mufti was.
It was the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem who gave Hitler the idea for the Holocaust. In fact, Hitler's idea had been to take the Jews and to put them in a carnival, a circus.
Yeah.
But it was the Mufti who said, no, you should kill them.
Yeah. He had no idea. Islam has nothing to do with what I said. No, we're fucking memeing on you, brother. I think these are ideas that might be a little too complex for you, okay?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Go back to Bluey, brother.
Channel conversations happening between Iran and the administration right now, but the reason we are hearing Iran flex this way is because they have a new strategic asset. When this war began, Israel and the United States had air dominance over Iran. Now that this war is 3 weeks old, they still have air dominance, but Iran also now has its own strategic asset, which is sea denial. Iran has demonstrated to the world that it can selectively close the Strait of Hormuz to international oil transit, and that is spiraling global markets.
That's what's
and
spiraling?
Iran understands that while it is operationally under stress from the tempo and the kinetics from Israel and the United States, it is strategically
hold on, pause. We are now seeing what this is. Like, it's exactly what we said. There isn't like any actual like diplomatic.
It's also from CBS though, so
no. But my point is, but even that is like affirming this, which is just that it's like it's all going one way. It's all going one way.
According to CBS, citing a senior Iranian foreign ministry official, Iran has received points from the U.S. and they are being reviewed. It follows a slew of contradictory statements made by both the U.S. and Iranian officials on the matter. I don't think the Iranian officials are contradicting themselves.
No.
I don't think they're contradicting themselves. They're saying like the U.S. is desperate for mediation. We're not. I think this is CBS doing propaganda at the behest of Trump and Israel by making it seem like Iran is more invested in the mediation than they actually are. Trump is 100% buying time to try and take the Strait. It's not going to happen. So stupid. I mean, I don't know. I'm not making any predictions, but I just don't see that happening. Okay, because of how easy it is to continue dominating it or making it like, or putting up a tremendous amount of penalties. It's fucking 2 miles wide, man. It's 2 nautical miles wide that oil tankers can pass through. It's 21 total miles, but most of it is too shallow. It's not deep enough. It's not very difficult to close the Strait of Hormuz, especially when you are Iran.
I do love also how it's like, there is just at no point it occurred to them also that it's not just oil that goes through there too.
Yeah.
Like it is like, it's not just like Iran's oil. It's not just Iran's oil.
Yeah. It's like starter chemicals necessary for I mean, it's necessary, it's natural gas. It's so much. It impacts so much of the fucking commerce. It's ridiculous. What are the odds? What are the odds of a coup or a civil war in Iran? I mean, there's always some odds, but it doesn't seem very likely. Yeah, fertilizers, helium.
I mean, the urea stuff is the urea. I don't know how it's pronounced. The fertilizer shit is especially jarring.
Yeah,
because that's one where we're not maybe going to see the impact so immediately.